Alright, so for today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the Milwaukee Tools and Klein Tools interchangeable or multi-bit insulated screwdrivers. Now, these kits are a little bit different from each other, so we'll go over that today. Now, the Klein tool, to get this kit, the model number is 32288, and then for the Milwaukee kit, it is 48-22-2218. The Milwaukee one you should be able to find at your local Home Depot, whereas the Klein one, I don't believe they sell these at Lowe's. I believe when I first picked mine up, I found it in store, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember if I found it in the store or if I had to order it online. So if you are trying to pick this up in store, you probably, I can't say I've ever seen it at my Lowe's, but your mileage may vary. But basically these are pretty much the exact same tool, just obviously from different manufacturers and a little bit different features. Klein was the first to come out with this design, and Milwaukee then turned around and had to come out with their version of the tool. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the Klein if you haven't seen the review on this guy before. Now, before we get too crazy far into the review, both of these do have supplement bit cases that come with it, or storage cases that come with it to protect the tools and to keep track of all the bits that are in them. So here is the Klein one. We'll probably open that up here in a minute. And then here is the Milwaukee one. But we'll go ahead and take a look at the Klein screwdriver here. It's kind of that typical Klein design that they have on their screwdrivers, where they got that nice rubber handle on there. That's one of the key things that I actually like about my Klein screwdrivers that I use on the daily, is that I like that nice comfort grip, or that nice rubberized grip on them for when I'm using them for a long period of time. And then you got the top of this guy, so if you had this sitting in your tool bag or your toolbox or whatever, and you had a bunch of other, similar Klein screwdrivers, you would be able to identify that this is the multi-bit insulated screwdriver. And this is a little bit different than the Milwaukee one. This guy has a flip bit system, so you get, I believe it's a number 1 and a 3/16 on this little short guy. So there is a double-sided bit, whereas when you look at the Milwaukee version of it, if you've seen the review of this guy, you only have that one single blade that is able to go into the handle of the screwdriver. And the Klein has a little bit of a spring mechanism that likes to shoot it out, so you can change it fairly easily. And I believe there's a couple, if I'm not mistaken, there's a couple latches you can see there on the inside that kind of hold on to these little indents here on the bit, so that you don't have to worry about it falling out on you while you're using it. Whereas the Milwaukee one, it's kind of more of a push fit connection, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it on camera, but deep down in there, there is a little bit that you can kind of see that bump if you look down that row. I know the lighting's a little bit terrible, but there is a single ball bearing in the back. Now, the one thing that I did criticize Milwaukee about in my review of this kit is that ball bearing. If you look right there, it does kind of lock or dig into the plastic on the screwdriver tip itself, and kind of does wear a groove into it before it locks into place, kind of like a 1/4-inch hex driver, where it will kind of lock into place onto that little collet right there. So that's kind of something that, depending on how often you use this tool, it would be something you'd want to pay attention to, because over time, I would guess that if you use it and you're changing bits quite frequently, that you could rub through the that protective plastic here on the screwdriver bit, and your screwdriver handle could possibly become energized, or you might feel a little bit of shock through it. The Milwaukee handle is definitely not as comfortable as the Klein handle. They do have a nice rubber overmolding, but I feel like the Klein handle is a little bit more softer or squishier in the hand, and then the size difference between the two. Your Klein one's going to be a lot smaller in size, whereas your Milwaukee one is slightly larger. But obviously their color differences are going to be, for the brand, so that's not really, a big deal. But the top of it is labeled, so if you did have a bunch of other Milwaukee screwdrivers sitting in your bag, you could easily identify that this guy is the insulated version. But other than that, that's kind of about it for those. So we'll go ahead and open up this bit case right here. And these are all the bits that come with this kit. So you get 2 long, I believe this is a number 2 and a 1/4 inch slotted that come with the Klein kit. And they do hold in there fairly nice. So those are your 2 long shank bits that come with the kit. So if you just wanted to use those and you weren't, swapping back and forth between the other ones, that's probably your go-to. And then there is the little fabric case that they give you with it. And then this guy, you get the standard number 1 Phillips and your 3/16 slotted. And then you get a square 1 and a square 2. Now the nice thing about these, if you for some reason happen to break one of the tips, maybe the plastic coating on the outside starts to wear off, or you accidentally lose a bit, you can get replacement bits. I believe you can buy just these 2 together if you just needed these 2. And then I believe this 3 is a set. I'm not sure if they sell the whole set or if you have to buy them separately. But that's what I remember seeing the last time I was on the Klein website. So that's that for the Klein. And now the Milwaukee version of this, go ahead and get it open, should be almost identical. I think the only difference is they include the ECX shanks on here, which is the square or the square slotted or Phillips slotted, whatever you want to refer to it as. But here is all the different shanks that come with it. So it's a little bit more bulkier when you have it in your tool bag. Considering if you do use these bits a lot, but it is nice that Milwaukee decided to include the, they call it the ECX bit. It could be a combination bit, whatever you want to call it. You do get the ECX1 and ECX2 in this kit, but other than that, all the other bits are going to be the same. You got your 2 squares, your Phillips number 2, and then your different, your 1/4 and your 3/16 slotted. And then your Phillips number 1, which I have in here. So that is that. So overall, these are both a decent screwdriver set. Now it's all going to come down to personal preference on which one is going to best fit you. For me personally, if I had to choose between the 2, I would be going with the Klein version of it. As like I said, I use quite a few Klein screwdrivers in my service bag. And I just prefer those over the Milwaukee style. I did try and use the Milwaukee style screwdrivers, the USA made ones. I just didn't like how they felt in my hand with prolonged use. So that's why I went back to my Klein versions of them. And that's kind of why I mainly prefer Klein screwdrivers over anything else that I have tried. So that's kind of what I would choose. And also the one thing that Klein has going for it that I haven't seen yet with the Milwaukee is you can get the replacement bits for it, so you can prolong the life of the tool as long as Klein is making those blades for it. Whereas Milwaukee, I haven't seen if they sell, just the individual bits, or maybe they have a few of them bundled together where you can buy a few if you break them or lose them or whatever. And then, like I said, I also don't like that they leave a groove on there, kind of wearing away at the plastic. And eventually, if you use it quite a bit, I would assume it will rub down to the metal of the screwdriver. But, Milwaukee, if you need something in a pinch and you don't want to wait for the Klein one to come, you can pretty much find these Milwaukee ones in your electrical section at your local Home Depot. So if you need one in a pinch, you're going to probably want to go with the Milwaukee. But like I said, me personally, I prefer the Klein. But with that being said, that's kind of all I have for this video. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. And as always, I will leave some product page information down in the description if you want to find out some more information about these tools. And then I will also leave a link to some of the online retailers that sell both of these tools if you're looking to pick them up. But with that being said, that's all I have for this video. Thanks for watching.